started Season 2 a little bit late here, Torchlight BLACKSAIL. I noticed there aren't a lot of guides out there, at least I didn't find a lot of League Start guides. I made a little walking simulator Gemma build. It's actually an edited build based on Guck Daddy Gaming did a build in Season 1 where he used Path of Flames cast while channeling Blizzard, and it doesn't work the same as it used to. Some of the items it used don't exist anymore, and the skill trees that it used aren't the same. So I actually went ahead and changed things. Also, the Gemma hero trait is different. Obviously, I'm not level 80, so this isn't going to be ideal. But yeah, so it's kind of scaled a little bit differently than it was before, but I'm also not sure if you'd rather use the ice Gemma, because I don't have it to test it. I also don't have enough time to test it, because you actually are casting, you're self-casting Path of Flames, which is a fire skill, but I don't know if the trigger on the Blizzard would actually give you ice energy. If it did, that would probably be better, but I don't know for sure. But I'm just going to go ahead. I'm only level 79. Let's just go to 85. Oops. Wrong buttons. But as you can see, level 79, easy 35 mil, 25 mil. Great league start, gets you through T7. So I'm going to go over everything in the build. Some of these are placeholder pieces because I can't afford it yet. The pieces that you're going to want to start with that are required to get this build off the ground that are pretty cheap are your Imperial General, because it gives you a lot of extra damage for Wave of Barrage skills and extra waves of barrage. You'll also want this hat when winter comes, because it gives you an extra barrage skill wave. There are obviously better corruptions than I have for these items that make the build that much better, but I'm not going to go into that because this is just a league start cheap build. Stellar Vestment of Eminence also gives you a lot of barrage skill damage. Other pieces that are going to be still in this build, that another really cheap one, Vortex Heart. That'll be one you want right away. And once you get those 4 pieces, you can kind of make it work with other stuff. These are actually not the gloves that I would want as my final gloves, but I dropped level 81 Gambler's Bracelet, which gives me elemental damage for Agility Blessing. I actually have the lowest roll. And you do want Powered Battle Greaves for the Energy Shield charge can't be interrupted when Energy Shield is below as close to 60% as you can get it. You also give a good amount of movement speed and more chance to inflict Frostbite, which are all good for this build. So those are actually the desired boots. Elemental Envoy may or may not be a good ring for this build. I haven't looked into what rings I want for the final version of the build. Gives elemental damage, all elemental resistance, more chance to inflict Frostbite, and more damage based on elemental ailments, which you put a couple on enemies. And then a ring that really is just for the resistances right now. It doesn't actually give me anything other than a little bit of life and resistances. This will have to be a crafted ring, probably a Thunderbane ring, because I'm low on lightning resistance, with lightning, erosion, fire, and then life, maybe elemental damage. I'm not sure what else. Your Infinity Belt, you're low on elemental resistances, so you're going to want some elemental resist, then you'd want life. Other stats that are relevant. Blur doesn't do anything for me. Mana regeneration speed is fine. It's not great. I picked Mind Blade because spells gain damage of the main hand weapon. Seems like a really good way to go because you get all this. So right here, so this is 528 physical damage. But when we go into the skill tree, we're actually going to have full physical to cold conversion, which is going to mean all of our cold damage is going to scale with Mind Blade, and we're going to deal a bunch of damage there. As you can see, I've got my resistances balanced to 75. I could use more erosion. Work on all that later. We'll go through our skills. Path of Flames with Guard, Efficient Cast, Quick Mobility, Periodic Burst. Blink with Quick Mobility, Cost Conversion, Cooldown Reduction. Compound Potion with Armor Infusion, Residues, Cooldown Reduction. Force Start with Extended Duration, Cooldown Reduction, Cost Conversion. Mana Boil with Bloodbath, Mass Effect Mania. You only have to cast it once and it just stays on you. Also, I need to get more reserve stuff going. I don't have all of my sealed mana stuff or my restrains to get everything going, so this is just a starting point, which when you get there, cast while channeling will probably be on reserved life instead of mana, because you want to fit more useful things in. But cast while channeling will have Biting Cold, Ice Bond, Abysmal Hatred for Biting Cold. That'll give you extra damage. And then your precise cast while channeling, which you can do this build with just cast while channeling for Blizzard, and it is way less effective. But just to get it off the ground, it's only about 10 FE for precise cast while channeling now, so it's not too bad. But yeah, your precise cast while channeling is where you want Blizzard, Carpet Bombardment, Strategic Strike, Critical Strike Rating, and Critical Strike Damage. Elemental Amplification is your damage aura, gives you elemental damage. And Steadfast, because you don't have any armor, you need physical resist. We're going to want to try and get it Steadfast as high as we can get it. I have it at level 8 for now, and I'm not leveling it. But it's working out okay. As far as hero traits, obviously you only have one option. I go with more fusion energy on these two rather than they ignore resistance. Although I might want to play with this because I have other ways to get cold to lower their cold resistance, so I don't think I need bone piercing heat, but it would work with this build. If you run by them and get the flame path on them, you would ignore all cold resist, so it might be something worth looking into. But I want max fusion energy and fusion effect. Only option. I like fusion energy and fusion effect, so this also gives additional fire and cold damage for every point of fusion energy, so just increasing our damage. And this gives you like ignite and stuff, which you're not scaling, so I don't think you want frozen flame. I'm gonna want extreme fusion for Frostfire Rampage, not removing fusion energy, I think. And this just changes the resistance damage, so you're gonna want extreme fusion. I'm doing budget hero trinkets, so this is actually just for resistance, the mage assistance substitute. I got this for 1 FE, 15 cold resist for every hero memory. There's 3 slots, so that ends up being 45% cold resist and 11 erosion resist for each of those slots, so that's 33 erosion. So that's actually pretty good because we're pretty resistance starved. Then these frozen times, I'm pretty sure, so the way it's worded here, cold damage for every frozen time engraved. So I think this gives me 27% times 3 because I'm using 3 of them. This one gives me 28 times 3, 26 times 3. And I just bought all those for 1 FE, so that's only 4 FE right there. And we'll go over the cost of the gear that you need to get this off the ground in a second here so you can see based on when the video is posted in case it goes up. But I changed the skill tree from the last league skill tree. It wasn't using Goddess of Knowledge or Arcanist, but it was using Druid. So we're going to start with Goddess of Knowledge because we're going ice damage. You want Beacon. Theoretically, Chili might be good. Chili and Winter might also be good options. I haven't tested them. And Insight, I think, is definitely what you want here because you already get Focus Blessings, so you don't need to gain more. And this is only 20% cold and fire damage, so I don't think it's as good. I don't need to go through each individual. You can just see here Those are I'm using. I'm going to need to get these sealed mana. And I probably want this max focus blessing stack too. So I'm going to need to get more points in here after I level up more. Then we go Arcanist. So here we're going to have some cold penetration. And really, I think this is why I'm keeping away from doing other things to get through their cold resist. Because, like, mana, 20% of damage taken from mana, not good for me. Skills cost 15% of the current mana. I don't think this actually works with the way our build works, because we're constantly using mana. So if that does work, great. I haven't tested it. I don't think it's any good. Extreme Coldness, obviously for additional damage against with enemies with max frostbites, which are constantly inflicting a ton of frostbites. This would be a good mapping one for explosions. And I don't think you want to change the focus blessing effect to this, because I think you just want to deal double damage instead. Because if it was additional effect, that'd be good, but I think switching the effect away from the double damage makes that not worth it. Not sure if I'll go back for anything here. I think this skill tree is pretty tapped out for what you want. And then Druid. Stability. This is really, really good for your survival. This is a really squishy build, so stability is a must, which is why I'm in Druid. And I'm going to take a Rebirth here when I can for to make those regains that I constantly get over time healing. And this is our skill tree. I'm going to want this talent as soon as I can get it, because it's going to increase my regains. And you don't want this, but you do want the spell damage. So 1, 2, 5. That's 5 of the points I need for 36, and then the other one just goes somewhere. But yeah, I guess I will add. I'm only in T6, getting ready for doing. I gotta unlock T7, but it goes pretty well. I'll do a T6 map here, and then I will end my video. I've actually been using a controller, which is why my ability bar looked so awful for controls with mouse keyboard, so I'm going to use a controller. As you can see, you just hold one button after, and then you occasionally will start your energy shield recharge, and your healing skills from time to time, and blink out of danger. You got a lot of movement speed, and it's a really lazy build, which are two things that I like in RPGs. I don't want... when I gotta do a lot of grinding, I don't want to have a super involved build, personally, so this build really works out for me. But as you can see, I'm popping my healing from time to time because, like I said, I'm super squishy. I'm still working, still probably going to edit this build to be less squishy. But getting it off the ground was super duper easy for me. I started the league a few days late and didn't really see a lot of people posting league start videos that gave me anything that I wanted to do, or that I thought was actually easy to get off the ground. As you can see, when you don't want to run straight at enemies. That's another good thing for blink. If you're going like you're running head on to a bunch of enemies that attack, because you're so squishy, you can blink in so that your blizzard can take them out really quick. Because you really want to avoid all the damage you can. But walking simulator without the box is going to be a must, I think. You'll need to grind out a game like this one. Wonder wealth. I like wealth. I prematurely popped my force start there a little bit ago. You want it to be kind of like your energy shield is low, and then your boots will make it so that it can't be interrupted on the charge as long as it's below that threshold, so as you take damage it keeps going up. Flame fuel. And I can still claim this even though it's complete. That's silly. Okay, now let's go to the auction house to show you just how cheap some of this gear is. When the winter comes, I think you can spend like 3 FE to get, or 2 FE. You can get one for 2 FE, and that's fine. Chest armor, gotta be in the int. You want to make sure you get these at level 80, by the way, otherwise you won't have enough energy in them. And this one, you can pick up for 2 FE. It's over level 80, you're good to go. Just a starting point. The gloves you're gonna want, I guess I don't have them as Sage's Insight. This is gonna be one of the more expensive purchases. I can't afford it yet. Currently, it's out of my price range. So I'm currently using, is it a Dex glove? Gambler's bracelets, which I'm sure you can pick up for 1 FE or less. You gotta make sure they're level 80 for the amount of energy you need. These boots are pretty important. Looks like you can, yeah, you can pick up a pair level 80 for 3 FE. That's not too bad. I'm not sure what our weapon is sitting at. That's the last thing to check. It also needs to be level 80. Yeah, 5 FE. So, again, really cheap build to get off the ground and run, and then you're good to go. And then you use this Vortex Heart, which you can pick up. There's definitely one for 1 FE. I wouldn't pay more than 1 FE for Vortex Heart, unless you're getting the appropriate corrosion to get even, because the corrosion is you can get less reduction to your skill radius. That's the best one, I think, but you just want your 1 FE out to get off the ground. I picked up this Infinity, which is subpar for 5 FE. So 5, 2, 3, 5, 6, 9, 14 FE to get off the ground on this build pretty well. Factor in my hero trinkets, then you're looking at like 18 FE for what I paid here. And I'm good to go on T7, so if you're looking for a good league starter that might not be great for farming the very end game, I'd say this is the one. Yeah, hope you guys enjoy it. I know there's definitely not enough guides out there in Torchlight. I hope this encourages some people to try some things out and get some builds out there.